What's up, guys? Nate, the old school otaku here, and I know it has been quite a while since I've done a proper pickups video, so why don't we just go ahead and do that? If you want to find out all of the cool and interesting stuff I picked up at and around Youmacon, stay tuned. Welcome back. So, like I said, I was at Youmacon in 2019, back in, end of October, early November of 2019, and by that I mean October 31st through the 3rd. So, yeah, I was at Youmacon back in beginning of November of 2019. So, I actually help out for Youmacon. It's part of the, it's one of the conventions that I actually work on every year. And, while I'm there, I get a chance to hit up the dealer's room at some point in time during the weekend. At least I attempt to. And, I pick up some things. And I'm not the only one. Some of my staff and friends and whatnot also pick up things. And just so happens that my birthday rolls around in November every year, typically, around that time. And so I wind up getting some interesting stuff. And that's effectively what I wanted to go over today, is the interesting, cool things that I had gotten, that I myself had gotten from Youmacon, as well as stuff that had been gotten at Youmacon and gifted to me slightly a little bit later. So that is the thing. I realize that we are now at the beginning of May, and so it's been like 6 months since I picked up all this stuff, but I've been wanting and meaning to talk about all of it, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, if you want to pick out effectively what would be part one of my pickups from Youmacon, well, you have to go back to my most recent episode that I had put up, and that'll be linked around. And that is the unboxing of the Idol Densetsu Eriko Laserdisc set, because I picked that up when I was at Youmacon. And then, of course, I also talked about 2 figures that I picked up while I was at Youmacon during my figure unboxing video. The figures that are all up here. In fact, real quick, I guess I'll pick them up here. Hold on a moment. So, I picked up both of these figures. Emeraldis is coming out of her base. I can't have that. Actually, she's not very well kept into her base, so I'll hold on to her. But yeah, I picked up this Emeraldis figure and this Mattel figure when I was at Youmacon from Otaku Joe. And to be honest, the majority of the stuff I'm going to be showing off is stuff that has been picked up from Otaku Joe. So yeah, not gonna lie, he definitely caters to my aesthetic, and in a lot of ways my friends' aesthetics too, because of me and what I'm all into. So either way, that was definitely a cool pickup. Those, as well as the Idol Densetsu Eriko set. So both of those are definitely cool. So let's go over real quick some of the stuff that I guess Ruu-chan had picked up a couple of things that I would consider to be very up our alley as things to talk about. So she had actually picked up a couple of these that are right up the alley, and these are effectively garage kits, figure kits. Both of these are Skuld. Both Oh My Goddess Skuld ones. This one actually has a little bit of English on here. And then this one, not so much. So you can actually kind of see what the figures are supposed to effectively look like. Typically, these come in small pieces that you then pull out and assemble. I'm not going to do that for either of these. That is entirely for Ruu-chan to do. But these are kind of cool. I haven't gotten too many figure kits in my time. I usually prefer to buy a figure that's already been, assembled, or has very little assembly to do in the end. But yeah, that's definitely pretty cool. So those are some pretty awesome pickups. And then another thing that Ruu-chan had picked up for herself, but even though she had picked it up, it still winds up going into effectively our archive, and it's definitely right up my alley because she picked up a Laserdisc. And what'd she pick up? She picked up Slayer's Perfect, the movie, or otherwise known as Slayer's the Motion Picture here in the States, the very first movie. So that's definitely pretty cool. And this one's a pretty cool one. One of the first anime VHS tapes I ever owned was actually this movie, Slayer's Perfect. So, and kind of funny at the time, one of the images on the front actually showed Naga here. She's the one with the big bosom. Showed her with her breasts out and the way she's drawn on the cover, and my mother actually made me return it. I had actually already opened another tape that I had gotten, which was Queen Emeraldis, but I had already opened that, so I couldn't actually return it. And basically the response was, well, it's my money that you spent this on, and I don't want you having something like that with my money. Now, if I'd bought it myself with my own money, she apparently wouldn't have cared. So I later bought it again with my own funds and told her, tough love, I already picked it up myself. So yeah. Let's see. I want to open this up, but I don't want to destroy the packaging. This is so well packaged. There is a... It's taped. Don't want to completely destroy the tape, as it were, but I do want to get rid of enough of this tape that I can open it, and then we can then reseal it, or at least put more tape back on in order to get it back into some form of protective covering. I mean, ultimately, I'd love to actually just open it up and watch it. Let's see. Come on, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And I'm probably going to fast forward this little bit so that y'all don't have to watch me fiddle with this piece of tape any longer than you need to, because it is definitely not going well. So I think it's time to pull out the big guns. The big guns, as it were. Okay. I think I got a pretty good start here. At least as far as getting this open, that's much better. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. Now we are talking. Perfect. Perfectamundo. All right. There we go. All right. And this actually already has a little bit of sticky built into it. So I can a little bit more easily reseal it once this is all said and done. So anyway, with that out of the way, we can get a much better look at this, as it were. So there's the front and then the back cover. And then on the inside, we have the disc. And then we have a little bit more than just the disc. Not a whole lot, to be honest. Just this one insert in here, which looks like it has some cast information and whatnot. So, got that in there. And then on the other side, looks like there is some, you got track listings, a couple of screenshots, and oh, this does actually open up, and we got even more. Oh, wow. Looks like it's kind of trying to talk about the timeline and things in here. Unfortunately, I don't quite understand English, or not English. I don't understand the moon runes, so but I have seen the show, and it's kind of cool the way all this winds up running. And they actually got a over here on this side. They've got some paper dolls. If you wanted to cut it out and damage this part of it, you could then put some of the characters into their other outfits and things. So that's kind of neat. So we can get a better look here through all of that. And then this is what I'm talking about, the character cutouts and whatnot. So you could cut them out, and you could put Naga on Naga, Lena on Lena, or Lena on Naga, kind of. You can kind of dress them in different clothing and whatnot. So that's it's kind of neat. But yeah, that's really all that came in this one here. Not that that's a bad thing. That's actually pretty cool. There's a little bit more in this than would normally be in a DVD. So that's awesome. And yeah, so this is Slayer's Perfect, the very first movie. And it's awesome now that we have a copy of this on Laserdisc in our possession. So that's cool. Rue is a major Slayers fan. Really big into Slayers a lot. I enjoy Slayers myself, but she is really into Slayers. So this one is one that she definitely wanted. I had it picked out, but I was going to prioritize a couple of other things instead of the Slayers album, or the Slayers, this piece of Slayers. So she decided to go ahead and pick it up herself, just to make sure that she had a copy. So yeah, that's that's lots of fun. So yeah, that's Slayer's Perfect, the movie, on Laserdisc. And that's the stuff that Ruu-chan had picked up. Now, I also picked up a lone Laserdisc, and I am talking about The Weathering Continent. This is a show that I actually don't know a whole lot about, but as far as I remember the storyline, it's set in a future, post-apocalyptic future, and the continent, the world, as it were, is kind of going to shit, and it focuses on a group of people going around and doing sword and sorcery type stuff in this interesting future. So here is the album, as it were, or the Laserdisc, and we've got the insert, which is always cool to have. Then we got the actual Laserdisc cover itself. So this is some really good beautiful artwork here. And then on the back, we have the chapter listings here, some screenshots, some information about the show. Unfortunately, I can't read that. And a few other things. I think there's some credits and whatnot here and there. And then on the inside, we have, unfortunately, looks like it is literally just the disc. It is, looks like it's only one side. It's a single-side disc. It's a relatively short, well, I mean, it says it's got side 1 and side 2, but side 1 looks like it's 60 minutes, and side 2 looks like it doesn't have anything. So, looks like it is literally just a one-side disc, and that is it. I knew I wanted a copy of this because, you know, as usual, this is right up my alley as far as what I like and what I would want. But the other side of this is I had actually been trying to get a copy of this anime on DVD for quite a while. The disc replay local to my parents' house actually has a copy and has had a copy in their possession. The problem is that the disc itself is destroyed. I honestly don't know how or why they ever actually took that in and didn't actually look at the disc. I guess they figured, hey, you know what, we have the big fancy machines and we can repair discs, so this doesn't matter. Well, yeah, they ran it through they ran it through the small machine twice. They ran it through the really big fancy machine a couple of times. It did nothing. The disc is just destroyed. It was just scratched all the way through the plastic. I even think a bit of the label was coming off, and unfortunately, once the label starts coming off, DVDs tend to be done at that point. So whoever had that disc did a horrible job of maintaining it, and then sold it and got some money for it. And I tried to buy it, but I wasn't going to take something home that wasn't going to play. I didn't care if it had, you know, anything else with it. And I later picked up a copy, I believe, from Otaku. Joe was able to set me up with a DVD copy of this, and then now after the con, I got myself a Laserdisc copy as well. So that's cool. I knew I wanted it, partially because of that and that story, but also just because, you know, cool artwork and whatnot. A little sad that the disc literally, this just comes with the disc and then the cover art and nothing else, but you know what? It is what it is. There may have been more originally, and it just so happens that whoever had this previously had taken that stuff and used it. That's also possible too. But either way, The Withering Continent. Moving on from here, this one is one that, well, I actually didn't directly pick up myself. This is a Ruu-chan special. She picked it up for me and gave it to me as a gift. And I am talking about Megazone 23, The Last Target, Part 2. This is a record. This is an album. So yeah, this has a lot of cool stuff on it. It's just a single record, not a multi-disc record. So it has two sides. One side has Trash, Red Ones, BD, Secret Arms, Vanity World, and then side 2 has City of Eden, Mind, Eyes and Eyes, Lovers, On a Clear Day. So that's really cool. It has all of those tracks there. And that is effectively the album. I don't believe there's anything else specific in here, special, but I want to see just in case. So let's go ahead and open her up and see what else is in here, because I do want to actually pop this into my record player at some point anyway. So might as well get her ready to do that. That makes a lot of sense, to be honest. If I want to actually play the album on my record player, I should actually pull this out. This has kind of been sitting down here waiting for me to talk about it before I did anything to it, and, well, now I'm doing something to it. We are talking about it. And, like I said, these come with a bit of extra sticky tack. So you can more easily keep it stored. So here it is again without the cellophane on it, so that should hopefully not be quite as reflective. Really cool piece of artwork here of Eve, one of the characters in the show. And then some more artwork of Eve, and then more the rest of that. And then on the inside here we have, we do have something else other than the record. So we got the record itself, and that's interesting. I want to take a look at that a little bit too. So yeah, the record here actually has some more artwork, of Eve in there, and the other side is the same as well. So that's definitely cool. I want to actually pop this in, and I probably will once I'm done recording and whatnot. Have enough problems with potential censors and whatnot on YouTube that I don't want to run into any other issues with trying to play copyrighted content such as the music. But yeah, so in here we've got a couple more pieces of artwork, and then some more information related to it as whatnot. So here's some of the information about the show, and then we got actual artwork here from the show, so that's always cool. And yeah, that's basically it. If you don't know, Animigo actually is working on a HD Blu-ray release here in the States, and I get updates on them quite frequently. I have backed that Kickstarter campaign, and I cannot wait to finally get a copy. The Kickstarters from Animigo are always awesome. In fact, I have a Kickstarter copy of everything they've done so far, and one of the things that I don't believe I have even pulled out of its box, it's actually sitting over here ready for me to talk about at one point, and don't worry, I will get to it, is going to be the Gunsmith Cats. So it'd be cool to actually take a look at that one. But yeah, that is Megazone 23 vinyl. So that's cool. Cool. All right. Real quick, I guess we'll talk about a couple of things that I had actually showed off previously already, a little bit. So when I was talking about the Idol Densetsu Eriko, Laserdisc said I had brought up this tape here that I picked up from Otaku Joe at Youmacon, and this is a VHS tape. It's called The Prelude. That's actually alluded to in some of the works and things from that album, from the Laserdisc. And then here's the tape. So that's really cool. And I know I talked about this a little bit in my I'm Back update video, but in case you didn't watch that, or didn't feel like watching that, here is the VHS. So this is a bunch of music. Basically, it's an album, music video type thing. Haven't popped this into my VHS deck, but I do plan to, because I want to actually check it out, and maybe I can digitize it a little bit, because I don't know of any digital copy of this out there, and be cool to, at the very least, digitize it myself, so that I have a copy and can store it. So this is really cool. This was an awesome find. I found that there, and I knew I had to pick it up. I mean, at the time when this originally came out, this went for looks like 4,635 yen, and then also 4,500 yen were the two costs. So I mean, look at that, 4,500 yen, $45 for this VHS tape. So it's pretty standard for Japan. They tend to be a little bit on the expensive side, but either way, definitely cool. So special guest thanks to Emmy. And then Eriko is in here, and they've got a bunch of different songs. So Locomotion Dream, Rolling Night, Warrior, Namida no Hanbun, Unchained Heart, True Love, Honki, Tsukiyo, Blue Moon ni Terasete, and Watashi wa Soyokaze. Pretty cool. Music video from Idol Densetsu Eriko, or Legendary Idol Eriko. Definitely cool. Okay. Next up is another VHS tape that I'd picked up from Otaku Joe. Like I said, majority of this stuff came from him. And this one I knew I had to pick up. This is a Streamline Pictures copy of this show. And this is, I believe at the time I called this Bayo, but it's actually Birth. Is the name of the show. I have this on DVD. It's a relatively difficult one to find, but this is called Planet Busters, is what Streamline Pictures called it when they brought it over here. And so this is a VHS, still got a bit of its cellophane wrap on it, which is kind of cool. And yeah, this is a very weird show. I watched this quite a long time ago. So I don't remember a whole lot of the storyline, but I seem to remember that it had an interesting, somber-ish end to it, which, can always happen. But this came out, the original show, Birth, came out in 1986, or at least there's a Harmony Gold picked up a copy of it, copyrighted it in 86. I don't know if that's the original release of it. And in 1992, Streamline Pictures copyrighted this. And whatnot. So, In Space, No One Can Hear You Laugh is the title on the front. I don't remember this being a very funny show, but maybe this dub is. Don't know. I know Streamline Pictures and whatnot, these dubs have a tendency to be a little bit on the odd side. They didn't really take anime very seriously back in the day, so there's always that. So let's see here. A non-stop action-adventure comedy. Okay. On a forgotten planet, a boy, a girl, 2 bounty hunters, and an army of death-dealing robots come together for one of the wildest animated feature films of all time. The action takes place on the remote, barren planet Pandora, homeworld of Dongamaru, the self-described creator of the universe. It is here that these 4 unlikely heroes form a fellowship to search for the Planet Buster, the Big D's secret ultimate weapon. One wild chase after another leads our band of searchers to one of the greatest mysteries in the universe, a madcap farce that attempts to uncover the meaning of life, only to end up, well, you just gotta see it to believe it. An Idol Company Limited production, designed and produced by Kaname Productions. English language version, freely adapted by Greg Snegoff. Snegoff. Yeah, that's right. At least that seems right. But yeah, that is Planet Busters or Birth. It is easier or better known, the actual show. Interesting show. I saw this and I knew I had to pick it up. It's nice picking up some of these old weird Streamline Pictures VHS tapes, because they never came out with these on DVD. You may sometimes get the Streamline dub in some versions, but not always. So always cool to pick that up. And finally, as far as my VHS pickups are concerned, this one is a release from US Manga Corps, and I'm talking about Odin Space Sailor Starlight. This is a weird show, which I think the actual Japanese name is also very similar. Odin is kind of the storyline. But this is set into in the future where humanity is moving across the stars. It's actually cool to see the original Central Park Media return mail postage thing on here. So set in the future, and basically in this future of Earth, humanity actually goes amongst the stars, and they ride in these giant spaceships, which look like galleons. They have actual sails, and what it is they actually sail the sea of stars using sails and lasers. So basically, the sails pick up the lasers, and that allows them to travel. But then the Starlight is equipped with a drive that actually allows them to go hyper speed, hyper light drive without actually having to utilize lasers. And interesting things happen. The storyline is really kind of weird. I have a hard time keeping track of a lot of it. I have a couple of different versions that I've seen. This one is original Japanese dialogue with English subtitles, so it's actually different than the English dub. That's kind of the interesting thing. The English dub is actually shorter than the subtitled version. They cut out some things, so it jumps around a little bit, but it's definitely weird as far as all of it's concerned. This came out in 1985. It looks like this English version came out in 1992. I own this on DVD. I have a couple of different fan sub copies available too that I've seen, and it is not what I would consider good, but it is pretty okay. Some of the effects are kind of interesting and neat on it. The way they have some of the sparklies and things and how they drew some of it in. But it definitely is budget animation is kind of what I would say. Even if this did actually come out in 85, like the copyright is on here, original Japanese version supposedly in 1985, this definitely looks a lot more like 70s animation, but the audio, the music is definitely 80s. It is 80s glam butt rock to the extreme. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Cool show if you have a chance to take a look. I can recommend giving it a watch. You may not like it. You may like it. It's neat. It's in some ways a guilty pleasure of mine, something I don't mind actually popping on randomly when I'm having a party or something to keep in the background while doing something else. Because it's kind of interesting to hear the English voices sometimes and just how bad the dub actually is of this. So either way, Odin, Space Sailor, Starlight. All right, so that's all of the VHS stuff. So, when around the holidays, shortly after Youmacon, me and Ruu-chan went to go visit my parents, as we usually do around Christmas time. Go a chance to go hang out with my nieces and see the family and whatnot. And while out, we, of course, hit up every single disc replay we can. There's actually a ton of them around Indianapolis, Indiana. Fort Wayne has one. Terre Haute has one. There's a ton of them in Indiana between our house and my parents' house. So definitely a lot of fun to sit down and go check out a lot of that stuff. So while out and about, we had a chance to pick up a couple of things. So these are games, not necessarily anime, but they're right up my alley as you would expect. I actually picked up a copy for PSP of Final Fantasy II. Yes, Final Fantasy II for the PSP. Because I didn't originally pick up this when it came out. It's really cool to actually see that the booklet is still in here and doesn't look too horrible. And even the return postage card is in here as well, so that's kind of cool. So it's basically got it's got everything in it in the original disc, which PSP games come on these UMD discs, which it's a little CD that's or DVD potentially. I'm not really sure what type of real technology they utilized for this, and comes in a little cartridge, which is nice for a portable system and whatnot. But Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2 I never did originally pick up, so I wanted to pick up the copy of this, and so I did. Final Fantasy 2, not the greatest Final Fantasy. I own it a couple of different ways, but it is an interesting one. If you are into grinding, it is definitely the one for you, because in order to increase your HP, you have to take damage. So the best way to grind up attack and also HP is to sit there and just start wailing on each other. Like, just start attempting to kill your party, and that is the best way to do it. It's kind of weird the way it works, but that's how it works. But yeah, so next up, that we picked up while we were out is PS4 RPG called Valkyria Revolution. I didn't pick this one up originally when it came out in stores. It's kind of based off of the Valkyria Chronicles storyline, I believe, instead of games. And as is typical, there's no insert, no booklet with these. But yeah, it's an interesting RPG system and whatnot. And I collect RPGs, so I wanted to pick up a copy. I can't really say much about the storyline because I never actually have played this game. I actually haven't played really any of the Valkyria games to this point. I own most of them. I don't know if I actually own all of them yet, especially after picking this one up. But it's possible. So, a dramatic tale of revenge in a time of war. Bound by a promise, a young man casts his life onto the battlefield and takes on the incarnation of death, the Valkyria. So yeah. Definitely interesting, and one of these days I'll hopefully get around to trying her out. Okay. So talking about gifts and things, we're getting close to the end of this specifically. I know this has been going on quite a little while, so stay tuned. There's more pickups, believe me. Haven't even talked about Christmas yet. So, yeah. This one was kind of a joke. For my birthday, I actually went out and about on the town, went and watched, I don't even remember what movie had come out around my birthday. Usually some action flick comes out in November that I want to go see that Ruu-chan doesn't necessarily want to see, so I go check it out. It's probably Terminator. It's probably the new Terminator that I checked out. So yeah, went to the movie theater and whatnot, had dinner and things. I like to be kept alone on the day of my birth. On my birthday itself, I actually prefer to be by myself and, whatnot. I celebrate it by not celebrating it. And I let everybody else celebrate it for me on a day that isn't my actual birthday. So either way, I was out and about, checked out a couple of stores, and ran into this while in one of the stores. And as a joke, I put it up and said, hey, this is something you could potentially look at picking up for me, Ruu-chan. And she did. And I can't blame her. I'm into Sailor Moon, and I like it just for the fact that I have a copy of it, not necessarily that the game is actually fun or anything like that. And I am talking about Sailor Moon Crystal Season 2 Dice Challenge Expansion, or Season 3. This is an expansion for the original Dice Challenge game. The original Dice Challenge game dealt with Seasons 1 and 2 of Sailor Moon Crystal. And so basically what this is a game that's all about rolling die. And you get like attacks and things, but basically you roll a set of die, and whoever has the highest numbers beats the other player and kills their die, and then you have special attacks that you can use and things. And it was a game that I tried out for the first time back Labor Day weekend. We had a big board game blast out at a cottage that my family owns, and did a bunch of grilling and cool things. And while there, we played a lot of board games, and one of the board games we brought was the Sailor Moon Crystal Dice Challenge game, and so that's what we did. We played it, and this is the expansion, because I saw this and I'm like, okay, I own the first one, I own it, I had to get this copy, and so now I have it. Did not have a lot of fun playing this game, but if you're younger, this could work out. This game's actually set up to be a social type game. Like, they actually give you a lanyard and a set of cards, and so you actually play with the cards. So you can kind of see here, you've got these cards, and these are the characters you can choose. And then, like I said, they give you that lanyard here that you can see, and then some other pieces and whatnot. And so the game's kind of set up where you wear your lanyard to a convention, and then you have your character that you want to play as in there, or a couple of characters if you want, and then the pieces potentially that you may want to have available, and then you carry around your bag of dice. And what you do is you take on somebody, see, hey, you were wearing your thing. Let's have a battle. Let's dice battle. And so you sit down and you dice battle. Not a bad idea. Not entirely a horrible idea. Just probably something that's a little too. I mean, it's for ages 10 and up. Supposedly 5 to 60 minutes per game, 2 to 8 players. So you can actually get a whole bunch of people playing together. The problem is you basically need, every single one of you needs to have a copy of the game so you all have enough dice to actually play, unless you happen to be a dice hoarder and have a whole lot of die that you can utilize. So the expansion's cool because it gives some extra die for us to utilize. So that's definitely cool. It comes with an 18 extra die and some more character attacks and what they do. But yeah, not horrible, but it is it is what it is. It's something definitely different. And not what I expected. I did not expect that when I jokingly put that in my list of potentials that I saw while I was out on my birthday, that Ruu-chan would pick it up, but she did. So it was definitely a weird one, but I'm not going to scoff at it too much, other than I probably am not going to play it unless I ironically bring it with me somewhere and we ironically decide to pop it out again. Who knows? It might happen. Anyway, let's get to the last piece, and this was a gift. One of my staffers gave me this as a birthday gift that he had picked up from Otaku Joe at Youmacon. And while I am not necessarily too big myself into collecting art books, I do know the appeal. I do own a few different art books. I actually own like the original Sailor Moon art books. Those are really cool and interesting to get into. I'm actually missing one of them. I'm missing Art Book 0. Because Art Book 0 has a tendency to go for like $1,500 because it was the one that wasn't printed, a whole lot of them, and it's mostly fan art, actually, by other manga creators that made that one, and it's kind of the holy grail for Sailor Moon art book collecting is to find a copy of Zero. It's also got, I think it's got basically like the closest thing to real hentai ever drawn of Sailor Moon in that, because I believe there is, I don't know if it's necessarily a sex scene, but there is some nudity in it, and if I remember correctly, it was actually drawn by Nayako herself, that piece of artwork, so definitely an interesting one in the end. But yeah, when my buddy gave this to me, I was like, you know what? This is pretty cool, and I can't not accept it, and it's definitely right up my alley. And this is a art book, Roman Album Extra 52, My Youth in Arcadia. And it looks like this actually went for 890 yen, so only like $8. Oddly enough, discs were expensive, but books not exactly so much. So this came out in 1982. And I've not actually opened this up, so I'm interested to do that. So let's do that. We are going to have a first-time experience because I've not actually opened this up. This is actually sealed extremely well, which is cool. I will probably put this in a... I actually have some oversized comic bags that this type of book can fit into, and so I'll probably put it in there with a comic board and whatnot, so it doesn't have to stay in this original plastic that it came in, and that's fine. So it doesn't matter too much if I get a little overzealous with trying to open it and get into it. I'm not too worried about it. All right, here we go. Got it. Gotti! All right. So, yeah, this has a nice... It's a dust cover, actually, which is kind of cool. Ooh, yeah, let's take a look at this. So this dust cover here, looks like that, and then you got Mine Arcadia. I'm I can't speak the rest of that. So that's cool, because one of the storylines pieces is that Tochiro and Harlock are apparently joined since for a long time. Their families have been together, but this is what it actually looks like. So that's cool. Like, the dust cover is awesome, but the actual book itself is definitely cool. Reads right to left, as you would expect. It's got a poster inside, so that's cool. Let's take a look at the poster. It comes out, so there's the Arcadia itself here, and then on the other side you've got Harlock. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna put this back. The inside of the cover, you've got some screenshots of characters and whatnot. I love the Emeraldus, and one of the scenes of Emeraldus, when she's at the firing squad and whatnot, and gets kind of caught up in this. But this is based off of the anime. It's not necessarily artwork as far as artwork is concerned. Instead, it looks to be more... a lot of it, or at least what I'm seeing so far, is a lot of screenshots from the show. So that's what a lot of this looks to be, at least up to this point. Dig a little bit in here. Chapter 2. We've got, here's some more like production art, which is cool. Definitely nice to see. Here's a neat one right here. And then this here, in fact, like up to this point, it's all been glossy paper, and then the rest of this is printed on more like standard manga paper. It's like old paper, so it's not glossy or whatnot. So it's definitely, you can see the color is kind of faded slightly and whatnot, but it's a bunch of character designs, vehicle designs, and whatnot. I mean, they get really technical, and that's what I like about some of these like mecha type shows, is just how technical some of the drawings and things can be, and how deep they get into it. So that's definitely cool, and it's interesting how this is put together with the glossy side versus the non-glossy side. Then you get some more screenshots of the show and whatnot printed on this non-glossy paper. So the artwork doesn't quite look as good through here. Let's see. Ooh. Oh yeah, there we go. There's my girl. There's Emeraldus right there. This is back when Emeraldus was just a free pirate, out and about doing her own thing. And she wasn't considered Mattel's sister yet, as far as storylines go. So, definitely cool. Yeah, it's just a bunch of screenshots and then more character designs, and then getting into some other stuff here. Looks like some other Harlock-y type things, and that this actually might be Cockpit. Then over here is Queen Millennia. So you can see Queen Millennia artwork here, and I think this is Cockpit, actually. Different artworks and character designs. The artwork from SSX, Galaxy Express 3.9, more 3.9 stuff, Captain Harlock show, and then looks like advertisements and things. Wow, that is a picture of Matsumoto. That's definitely young photo of Matsumoto right there. Pretty cool staff interviews from the show, little bits, pieces of artwork and things. Music score. If you wanted to play a little bit of the music, they've gotten that in there. Yeah, this is neat. This is not something I would have bought myself originally, and looks like it has been it's been stapled actually. I don't know if it's stapled because that's how they wanted to keep it together, or somebody had stapled it after the fact in order to keep that segment together. Keep it from falling. Oh wait, no, the staple's in here for the fold out. So that is actually part of it. I mean, it is bound as well, but then you've got also a staple in there, which is, I mean, it's better than nothing, having something extra in here kind of holding everything together. So I'm not too against that. But yeah, this is cool. I would not have bought this originally. I mean, I've seen this on Joe's shelf. I have looked through his art books from time to time. But generally, unless it's something really specific, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. And this one is definitely not one that I would have picked up. Like I said, I'm looking for the Sailor Moon art books, not necessarily this one. And definitely not something that I've already picked up. But either way, this is neat. So thank you. I appreciate it. This is cool. My Youth in Arcadia, Roman album, Extra 52. This was a pretty cool pickup. Glad I actually have a copy of this, so that's definitely awesome. Let's get her back in here. Plastic. Like she'll be. I'll properly store this later with the rest of my art books and magazines and things at a later date. But for now, get her in there. That's that. So, yes, that brings us to the end of this little romp through stuff that I had gotten and Ruu-chan had gotten from Youmacon, my birthday, or at Youmacon, or around it and whatnot. There is more pickups to come. Like I said, I hadn't even gotten to Christmas and whatnot, and definitely got quite a bit from that. So you want to stay tuned because it's quite a lot to talk about. And that'll be coming here relatively shortly as well. So once again, if hanging out up to this point, thank you for listening to me up to this point and checking out all the cool stuff that I've gotten. This is your first time checking out one of these videos. Once again, thank you for sticking with me to the end. I know it can be a bit on the rambly side and whatnot, so thank you for sticking with it. And if you do like what you've seen so far and want to see some more stuff, I encourage you to go check out the rest of my channel. Go ahead and give her a click, see some of the other videos, wait till the end card in order to see some of the other potential videos that YouTube may think you would want to see. And if you do actually enjoy it and want to see more going ahead in the future, I encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and then also the bell icon so that you'll get notified when I release something new. Put you front row and center right up front whenever I release something new. So go ahead and give that a check out. And then of course, what do you think about what I picked up? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. I will check those, read those, and respond as I am able to. So feel free to go ahead and do that. It'll be lots of fun. I am still responding to people who have found me through the Cell Collection video and responding to their comments there. So, please do go ahead and check it out. Would be cool. If you want to interact with me outside of YouTube, you can definitely do that as well. I have links to my Facebook, to my Twitter, and to my Tumblr, as well as my website in the description below, so you can check those out there. Feel free to go ahead and do that, as well as my Patreon if you want to. But if not, that's perfectly okay. Just watching these videos, giving me a like, subscribing, whatnot, or sharing would definitely be cool. That's always awesome. And, I like hearing what you guys have to say, so let me know. Have any ideas for other content, things you'd like to see more of? I am looking to try and do some more reviews and other things. So, let me know what your thoughts are. And, this basically brings us to the end. So thank you for sticking with me up to this point. I am Nate, the old school otaku, signing off. Wow. I was not expecting how awesome this was, so thank you. I appreciate this very, very, very much. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, I do. That I do. Kind of sad I didn't buy this one.